Hey guys, Tony here. So in this video, I want to answer a viewer question. I'm going to pull it up on my phone real quick. And the question was, this particular person got their PTAN in 2 weeks. Awesome. Like the turnaround time has been lightning fast. So she's asking, she started seeing her first Medicare patient this week, Med B, primary, Blue Cross secondary, from the employer, not a Medicare supplemental. And that's fine. We have local plans here where the secondary is a Medicare, the secondary is an employer policy. They have a little bit of a unique situation. It's managed by United Healthcare, but it's employer funded. I don't know. So this individual will call Blue Cross, and it's 80/20 after he meets the Medicare deductible, the patient. Oh no, I'm sorry, after he meets the deductible on the secondary, which is $500, 315 of it has been met. So this is where I think you said, we have the option to wait until they get billed, wait until it gets processed and billed at the end, or we can bill the 20% for each visit until it meets the deductible. I also saw on Facebook in a group that someone said Blue Cross Blue Shield retiree plans may not pick up the 20%. This is probably a super basic question. It's not. It's a reasonable question. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I want to be available for anyone who's taken my Zero to Paid course, because these are kind of different situations. So let's go through this step by step. The patient has Medicare Part B. First thing you need to determine is how much has been utilized toward the financial threshold for this calendar year. Assuming you're a physical therapist, occupational therapist, speech therapist, doesn't matter, go through the MAC portal or call the IVR to find out how much has been utilized toward the threshold, because you want to know if you need to add the KX modifier from the beginning or if it's going to kick in somewhere along the way. Now, assuming the patient has met the Medicare Part B deductible for the year, they have not met the $500 secondary deductible. So what you would do is, you know that they've met 315 of the 500. You know it's the secondary, so it's going to be 20% of the Medicare allowed amount. I know I'm going to get a little crazy here. So what you're going to do is, you're going to look at the fees that you're generating for this particular patient. Let's pretend for a second you're going to do an initial evaluation, regardless of the complexity, because all of them reimburse the same at this point. You're going to provide maybe 2 units of exercise, 1 unit of therapeutic activity. You're going to go based on the Medicare allowed amount fee schedule. You're going to calculate out 20% of the allowed amount. Now, the reimbursement is going to be less than that number because there's going to be the MPPR, which is the financial reduction on all units after the highest relative value unit. But to give you a little bit of kind of cushion, I would say just estimate 20% of the allowed amount, collect that at the time of service from the patient. Let the patient know that this is going to be credited toward their secondary deductible. They haven't met the $500 of that deductible. And once your 20% accumulates to the difference between 500 and 315, now you can assume the secondary deductible has been met. You can stop collecting the full 20%. But if I'm reading your question correctly, it says after the deductible is met, the plan pays 80% and the patient's responsible for 20. So really what that means is they're paying 80% of the 20% Medicare didn't pay. Typically, that's going to leave about a $5 balance for the patient's out-of-pocket cost. So Medicare pays 80%. The secondary, after the deductible has been met, pays 80% of the 20%. The patient's left with 4%. And so you would just continue to calculate out now 4% of the allowed amount. You collect it at the time of service. Once the first initial claims have processed, primary and secondary, you'll know exactly to the penny what is being covered, what's going toward deductible, what, if you owe the patient a refund. And typically what we'll do, depending on how long the patient is coming to you for therapy, we'll collect based on what we believe is the most accurate number. But then if we find that there's a patient credit or a refund due, we will either issue that refund as soon as we get the EOB showing the refund that's due, or we'll credit that to future dates of service if they're continuing a current plan of care. Now, I'm not going to hold that money for like a new injury. If I'm doing 18 sessions in a plan of care because it's a complex post-op case, I'll just allow the money they paid originally to carry forward so they don't have to keep paying. If I'm going to see them for 3 sessions, then I'm going to give that patient a call and say, hey, dear patient, this is Tony from physical therapy. I've got great news for you. Everything is processed through your primary and secondary. You actually have a refund coming to you. I'm going to drop a check in the mail unless you'd like to come by the clinic to pick it up in person. And then that prompts me to start a conversation about, how are you feeling? It's been this long since you've been discharged from therapy. Usually patients are feeling great. They don't necessarily keep up with their home exercises. So if you have questions or you want a new home exercise program, don't hesitate to come on in and we can apply the refund due to your next date of service, right? So there's lots of ways to open that line of communication, but hopefully I didn't lose you through all the numbers. If you still have questions, let me know. Otherwise, guys, these are the kinds of questions that need to be addressed in a public forum so other therapists can benefit from the answer. Guys, as always, I appreciate your time. Subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and share the video if you can. I'll catch you on the next Q&A.